It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. And we're zooming in and focusing in today on a great viewer question, and that is really how to deal with a very touchy subject that she's dealing with a narcissist, a difficult person in her life. This person happens to be a family member. This person happens to be a mother who has been manipulative, stomped over her, been very disrespectful towards her and her family, yet is calling for her to be back in her life. So we're going to zoom in and focus in today on how do you really negotiate boundaries and communicate with someone who has been manipulative, abusive, condescending, and really sort of walking over you or been a mesh to you in your life. I think this will really help you to understand and be confident and secure and give yourself self-love and take the upper hand, the power place that you need to take in these relationships. Even if you've never done it before, even if this person is in their 80s, it is never too late to communicate correctly and negotiate healthy boundaries. But before we get started, I just want to give a huge shout out to those of you who have recently donated to the channel. It is so great to hear from you. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to take your questions, hear your stories, hear and present and provide a resource to you and provide tools that can actually help you to heal and to do this with results that are rapid and timely in nature. And if absolutely positively, if the resource here has been a positive influence in you, please do feel free to donate at the PayPal Donate Now button here on the About page at the Peace and Harmony channel. No matter what you give, everything is appreciated. And it really is important in your life to give back 10%. If it's 10% of your funds, if it's 10% of your money, if it's 10% of the items that you have, it's very important because really the law of reciprocity really does take flight and effect when you do this and you follow the 10% rule. Oftentimes there's a lot of religions that advocate this as well. So absolutely positively do feel free to donate. And also just a real quick, a viewer had a question was, how does the Peace and Harmony channel make money? The channel here really is a nonprofit. It is here to help provide a resource in tools and content and support and discussion for, I feel, those people who have very little support in this area and oftentimes who have suffered greatly at the expense and exploitation of others, to be supportive roles. So that is the whole impetus and support and inspiration for the channel. I don't make money here. However, if you do want to contribute and donate, we do receive a little bit of few cents when people do click on the ads that are running on the channel. So if you click on the ads or participate in the ads, then you can help support the channel. If you don't have funds to give and you have time, that is how the channel earns a little bit of cents, but it is not much. It's largely nonprofit. So thank you for your inquiries, and let's get started here and move forward on the topic for today. And this is at the result of a question that a viewer had submitted, and that was really how is she going to deal with a guilt trip, or really sort of a guilt not only that she feels within, but that is sort of perpetuated by these individuals if you don't concede and give in to the lower demonstrative feelings that these people tend to encourage and propagate in your life. So the guilt trip, you should be ashamed that you don't, you need to do this, you need to give that, you need to do what I say, or the overhanded control, the feeling that you are inferior, not good enough, not lovable unless you. There's always a contingency with which you feel loved by this individual. Unless you do this, and oftentimes it's you giving more than you have received from this individual. And there's a perpetual feeling of your boundaries being violated, either through looks, through the way that you're not communicated with, being ignored, being stonewalled, being sabotaged, gaslighted, not recognized, not given credit, or, having positive comments thrown your way, positive smiles, positive attention, positive presence. These people are able to then figure out your buttons and trigger you to feel guilty and to be subdued, quiet, not happy. Unfortunately, there are people in the world who take power by trying to negatively control others. Unfortunately, that's how some of the human tribe is. They just take great pleasure, almost a sadistic pleasure, from causing others to feel guilty, less than, insecure, promulgate self-doubt, a feeling, of being weak or meek or not deserving. All this whole stew of negativity oftentimes is propagated or, kept in this sort of energetic vibration or energetic dynamic in the relationships. And people suffer for years not knowing how to get out of this wound. They become trauma bonded, and the imprinting is so strong, that, you have got to do something. You, Y-O-U, not the other person, but you have to change your energetic vibration in how you relate to this person. And furthermore, negotiate and communicate your boundaries on what you feel you need, deserve, and is only your natural, normal human right. If you're not used to articulating this, you are probably going to feel very uncomfortable, very inadequate, and very incompetent, and very undeserving of communicating your boundaries, as well as, I call it, your standards, really, which is what you want. If the relationship could go the way you would like it to go, what would that look like? In fact, I want you to take a moment right now, and I want you to write 10 to 20 ways that you would feel, and the way the relationship would play out, the way it would go, how your outings would look, your communication, your get-togethers. What would it look like? What would you look like? Would you be smiling? Would you be clapping? Would you be dancing? Would you be dressed in white? Would you be dressed in red? Would you be dressed in a pattern? What would you look like? And what would this person look like? What would the exchange look like? What would the emails look like? What would the texts look like? What would the meals look like? Would you go traveling together? Would you go hiking together? Would you go swimming together? Would you go painting together? What would you do? What would the exchange, what would the relationship look like? What would life look like? You need to get out of the fight or flight, the guilt, the feeling of fear, being unsafe, being threatened, being dominated by. All these go into promulgate, and it's like a big sauce or a big stew that is your chemical conglomerate that, the adrenals, the cortisol, the stress hormones, the depletion of the serotonin, the reticular activating system that's promulgating what you pay attention to, how you speak, the vocabulary that you use, how you dress, how you're energetically coming, all of your organs, all of your muscle tissues, your brain has a whole aura and energy center above it, including 7 to 9 feet above you, around you, and behind you. This is your energy center. If you don't believe this, go into a dangerous neighborhood and see if you can sense, the atmosphere. See if you can sense the energy. You can see it, feel it, know it. You don't have to doubt yourself. You're like, whoa, I'm blowing some red lights. I am out of here. If you don't sense the energy, then go and test it for yourself. Likewise, go into a very, very nice neighborhood where there's beautiful homes or well-kept lawns, people playing in the parks. See if you can feel the energy. See if you can change. This is a testimony to the fact that there is energetic vibration in the air from your organs that is spiraling around you. This is the quantum field. This is your energetic vibration. Everything is energy. Shapes, colors, places, plants, animals, everything is energy. This is, physical law. This is physics. This is quantum field. This really is, very, very interesting to me, as well as, the neurobiology and the either the neurons and atoms that fire and wire together, and how this creates an sort of a loop or a pattern within the individual being. And so to get back to this individual who has been in no contact with her mother for 7 months. So this first statement is very important. If you have been so mistreated, you need to go no contact. You need to go no contact. If you want a remedy for yourself, you need to get these perpetrators and violators out of your field of influence, out of your home, out of your clothing, out of your spice rack, out of your to-do list, out of your Facebook, out of your phone, out of your email. You need to clear the deck. You need to get the toxicity out. And those of you where you're at, you know where you are. You know who you are, and the fact that you need to go no contact. You need to move. You need to break it off. You need to communicate the words. You need to do this unequivocally. And, what do you do if these people are at your workplace? What do you do if they're your family? What do you do if they're your spouse? You unequivocally need to separate yourself from them energetically. You need to go no contact even if you are in contact with them. Not giving them eye contact, looking at their earlobe, looking at the top of their head, looking past their shoulder. You do not engage in eye contact. You will look at them in the top of the eyebrows if you have to speak with them. You will not speak in a similar pattern. You will ask questions when they ask a question. You will take command of the conversation. You will act in a very dispassionate, indifferent, neutral manner. You stop the super highs, you stop the super lows, you adopt a feeling of indifference and neutrality. If you don't know what that is, please Google what that means and what that feels like. You need to do this. You need to turn your body away from them when you're talking. If this looks weird, who cares? Who cares if they think you're weird? They've already been a perpetrator and a violator in your life. It's time you wake up, smell the coffee, smell the java, smell the roses, and begin to shift your energy and negotiate and learn how to effectively communicate right away. You do not have the open plane to your body, next to them. You begin to reinforce, things like this. You hold your body up. You hold your body like this or like this. You begin, if it seems strange, odd, this is what we call a pattern interrupt. I've done videos on this before, but you need to absolutely unequivocally change your body mass and your energy from facing them directly, especially the good stuff, your heart. And also, taking and changing up the pattern of your communication, which is where we're going to go to the next point of her statement here. So unequivocally, you need to go no contact. If this has been, you stop the emails, you stop the texts, you stop the conversations, you stop the Facebook, you stop the Instagram, you stop the thinking, you get them out of your immediate environment, you take down the pictures, you get rid of the clothing, you get them out of your environment. I don't care if you have to fill up a dumpster, if it takes 1 day, 3 days, 5 weeks, get them out. Get the gifts that they've given you, get rid of them, extract that, and purify your environment. And when you do that, you will purify your soul. You need to go through this purification process. You unequivocally need to get to that space. And if you've been to the point where your emotions are running you ragged, your adrenals are on high alert, perhaps this person could be psychopathic, where they have disrupted your your thought patterns. They've disrupted your value system. They've disrupted and hyper aroused you to the point where you're always either hyper aroused sexually, hyper aroused emotionally. You're paranoid. You feel disconnected from your environment. This is called brainwashing and gaslighting, just like you hear in the horror stories of, people who have been, prisoners. It is that real. And these are everyday people who you will find in your work environment, who you might find in your family, who have gotten you to this psychologically overwhelmed and hijacked stage. It is very terrifying. A lot of people think that they will never heal and recover from it. they will never ever be able to get their life back. I unequivocally 100% can tell you that you can if you follow the tools and the discussions and the support that we have here on the Peace and Harmony channel. It unequivocally is something that most people will never get and understand until they have been through it themselves and they have been at the brink of this despair. Furthermore, we're going to get more into depth in this great viewer question. She is putting guilt trips on me. This is a feeling that you cannot think for yourself. Let's back that up for a moment. A guilt trip. You are on a trip, you're going someplace you don't want to go, feeling somewhere you don't want to feel. Unequivocally, you are out of control, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and physically, when you're embodied with a guilt trip. This is a typical tool that a narcissist will use to manipulate and get power over you. It is not natural, it is not normal for you to separate and segregate your feelings into guilt. You have the right to peace, you have the right to prosperity, you have the right to focus, you have the right to be supported, be acknowledged and validated for your positivity and not feel guilty, wrong, or selfish. In fact, it is nothing but selfishness if you go and all you do is throw a pity party for yourself. Woe is me, I feel so sorry for myself, I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to take responsibility for my own communication, my own boundaries, my own standards. You unequivocally need to take responsibility and know without a doubt that you deserve to live guilt-free. There's nothing wrong with this. The narcissist or the psychopath will build into your feeling set, your emotional network of, and your neurochemistry, your neurons and axons and dendrites that communicate on a daily basis. All your thoughts, feelings, and emotions are wired or hardwired. You need to soften these up and get into the understanding of neurogenesis, which means you have the ability to think new thoughts, feel new feelings, and have new behaviors, and then reprogram and dissolve the negative neurons that fire and wire together and get rid of those from your feeling state neurologically when you engage in this awareness. So you need to take time to unplug these neurons that have wired and fired and have created this anxiety, this guilt, this depression, this CPTSD. This is nothing other than what you have learned from your environment and from these toxic people. And so she keeps putting guilt trips on me. She tells me how sick she is now. Okay, so right when the narcissist needs you, interesting that after they mistreat you and belittle you for being sick, having a zit, having a cold, they're belittling you. Now when they're sick, next thing they do is start calling you and emailing you. Very interesting, the hover, isn't it? They need people, but they will come, crawling back and climbing back to you, or not only, through text and through, after they've mistreated you, they expect you to forget, forgive and forget. No, it's time to remember and deal with. It's time to actually get this out on the table. No more pink elephant in the room. She tells me how sick she is now. I told her that I needed time to heal away from all her drama. Amen. This is what you need to do. That is the perfect statement. I need some time. I am not in a place where I can communicate with you now. You need to communicate these words to your family members. I need some time away. I need some time for myself. This drama is too much. This is, I'm done being the scapegoat. I'm done with the negative talk. I'm done with the ignoring. I'm done with the I'm going to do this threats. I'm done. I need some time away. And I will pick up with you when I'm ready. I mean, you need to have the ball in your court. When you keep in the boxing ring, it's like, you're like playing emotional basketball with these people. Why keep passing them the basketball and you have nothing? You're like waiting for them to, change, but they're still mistreating you. You need to reset the tone. You need to change the game. You need to pull the ball back into your emotional court. I told her that I needed time to heal away from all her drama. Amen. Fun 2701. But she keeps saying that she doesn't know why I am talking to her. She's 82 years old. She doesn't respect our wants or needs. There you go. It doesn't matter if this is a family member. It doesn't matter if this is a boss. It doesn't matter if this is a manager. If they don't respect your wants and needs, they do not have a place with you in your life treating you this way. Unequivocally, if you are above the age of 18 years old, you need to get away from this. This is impossible. Begin to look around. Begin to make a way for yourself. It might be difficult. You might need to live in some closets. You might need to go to school. You might need to get some, support from your state. You might need to get some Pell Grants or whatever it is. But you need to make an exit road. And we have a lot of viewers who ask, how do you get on your feet financially? We need to address that. That's a whole nother video. We have a ton of people who have found themselves, emotionally tied to these people. So this can become a very difficult dependency. She stomps all over us and treats us like we're small children. She wants all of us to be flocking around her because she says she doesn't have much time left and doesn't want us to live with the guilt of not spending time with her while she's alive. Who's setting the emotional tone? You need to set the emotional tone and declare the boundaries. She wants to talk to a lawyer to see what she can do. She's accusing me of elder abuse because I've stepped away. How do you escape her manipulation? You unequivocally set the emotional tone. And you say, I will communicate with you on these terms. And you lay out the terms. I'm not going to be told this. I'm not going to be told that. These are the terms of engagement. If you can cooperate with this, great. If not, then it's not going to be possible. I can't take this, I'm not going to take this any longer. It's just period, end of story. And it doesn't matter. This is not elder abuse. She needs to care for herself. How can she expect you to take care of her if this is nothing but an expectation? She needs to get support from the state or some other caregivers. She can't keep mistreating you. This is not fair to you, no matter how old the age. You need to declare your boundaries and set the terms of engagement. Otherwise it's going to be more time. And then if she comes back and softens up and says she's sorry, or then you're in a functional relationship. This is your buddy. Peace and harmony with you here. Hope these videos do help.